So we played Chelsea away at Stamford Bridge, and we were able to win 3-0. That day, I think we'd had a couple of injuries, I think. So we were missing Adam Smith, who normally plays right back for us. So I think that was definitely in my mind going into this game. What do we do without him? And also Chelsea, very unique back then under Antonio Conte, the way that they set up with their 5 at the back, and they were religious with that. They never changed, or very rarely changed. And we'd had several games against them before in that system, and we hadn't got a result against them. So we tried different ways. We'd gone off back 4, we'd gone a back 5. So we'd done different things. We'd pressed them, we'd dropped off them. Nothing had worked. So we went into this game really having to, we felt, do something different, something that we hadn't done before. So hence why we set up this way. So our team that day was Asmir Begovic in goal, who was doing well for us at the time. And then we decided to go with a back 5 really to do with our press. But the problem we had was at wing back, so right wing back without Adam Smith. So we played a winger there, played Ryan Fraser. This is one of the first times he'd ever played at right wing back for us. So that was, I'd say, a slight risk, but we trusted him to do a really good job. Simon Francis, right side centre half. Steve Cook, the middle centre half. Nathan Aké, former Chelsea player, left side centre half. And Charlie Daniels, who was our normal left back. And going into midfield, we had Lewis Cook and Dan Gosling. And then we looked at a front 3 of Jordan Ibe, Callum Wilson, and Junior Stanislas. Whenever we'd played them, we'd had a big problem with Eden Hazard, as most teams did. And I think, remembering the game, I think we expected him to play off the left, as he always had done. But actually, in this game, he played as a 9. So that was a slight change, but it didn't change anything really that we had planned for him. The biggest thing was dealing with their system. Now, Alonso was doing really well off the left. They were really potent players in the wide areas. And then, of course, you had Hazard and Pedro playing in these pockets. As I said, Hazard plays a 9 in this game, but these were really destructive players as well. And so it was a challenge to try and stop those 2 players getting on the ball, stop their wing-backs having joy in the wide areas, and trying to have enough of the ball to cause them a problem. So we decided to be very, very brave with our approach. We sort of wanted to throw caution to the wind, and in thinking that attack is the best form of defence. And I think whenever we go into these occasions, that's what we try and think. We try and think, right, how can we impose ourselves on them? So what we decided to do was, when they got the ball in deep areas from their back 3, we wanted to go almost man for man. So we lined up Callum with their middle centre half. The 2 right players to the side, left and right, were to protect the central area of the pitch when the middleman had the ball. And then as soon as the ball went to one of the wide centre halves, we would initiate our press with that respective man, so almost in line, man for man. Now, if this was, say, down their right-hand side, then our left side wing-back would lock in on their wing-back. Our centre-half would lock in on their pocket player. The centre midfielder would lock on their midfielder. Centre midfielder would lock on their midfielder. Middleman with their 9, who was Hazard. Now, this is where you need the swing from the opposite side, and that gives us our strength in numbers with the opposite wing-back coming round. So it was a very aggressive way of playing. If the ball went back to the middleman, he would then go. If it went back to the goalkeeper at any time, Callum would go and press him. If it went to the centre-back, then the same process happens. And this is where you need the swing of the defenders. And then this guy has a lot of work to do to then come back and give you a defensive solidity with the back 4. So it was very, very brave, because you know that one mistake in the chink of your defensive pressing phase, and they can get their attacking players with technical quality and pace to hurt you. So we really did need to be, everyone needed to commit to it. And I think that's always the challenge when you play this way. It's easy to go through it in training and go through it to say this is what we're going to do, but then when the players are out there, they may feel they need comfort in dropping off or comfort in numbers, and we wanted to try and get that out of the players' heads. So that was probably the key thing. And also then how you start the game. So if you're able to win the ball back on the press in the first couple of times they get the ball, I think it lifts everybody in the team. It gives them confidence to know that the game plan's going to work. And thankfully in the game, I think we did. We started really well, and everyone from there just went upwards in their performance off the ball. Well, I think we got through to the half-time in a good place, and we'd had a couple of chances on the counter-attack. So with the ball, we knew that we weren't going to go there and dominate the ball, but we knew, as always with us, that we would split to play when we had the ball. Again, we'd be very brave in our approach. We'd push our wing-backs on, and I think that's where probably I have to mention Ryan Fraser. So one of the beauties of playing a winger at wing-back is when the ball's been built up positions, he's not going to be too deep. He's going to be brave, and he's got the technical quality then to find really intelligent passes. So that was probably a really good thing from the game. But the first goal has actually come from quite a basic format. I think it's a long goal kick. So if I just get their shape. And they're very difficult to score against Chelsea at the time because they had the 5 defenders themselves. So I think it's a long goal kick. It's a little bit scrappy. It reaches sort of this point where we're just behind their midfield line, and their back line's a little bit stretched because the ball's in transition. And then these two players do really well. So Jordan's just drifted slightly narrow. I think Callum picks the ball up, plays into Jordan, makes a run off the back of their middle centre half. And this is probably the key part about the goal. So there's no great build-up to it, but just a quick interchange of passes from these two players is the weight of Jordan's pass. Superb. Callum times his run really well, stays on side with the last defender, and then he's got one of the best goalkeepers in the world to beat. And, he tucked it away really well. We'd come up the pitch, and we've retained a second ball, simple as that. And then we've allowed two players just to execute a nice 1-2 to score. The second, I think we're defending deep. As, we'd gone 1-0 up, Chelsea had put us under a little bit of pressure, and I think we'd come back into our defensive shape. And I think Charlie Daniels picks up the ball quite deep. And Chelsea are quite spread at this time because they're chasing the goal. Wing-back's quite high. So again, I don't think they quite get their defensive shape as they wanted it to. And I think the interesting part is Charlie could have cleared it out of play. But he didn't. He had the courage to still try and find an intelligent pass while releasing pressure. And I think the key part of the goal is Callum's ability to retain the ball. I think without this platform to build this attack, it wouldn't have happened. And that's when you're up front on your own, as the game wore on, Callum was on his own and isolated a little bit more than we would have liked. His simple pass then means that Junior, who had a really good game this day, was able to carry the ball. Chelsea are still in transition and stretched. And then you see a really nice interchanging of positions and technical delivery from Junior and Callum. And I think the key final bit of the goal really is Callum's weight of pass and disguise of pass. He sucks the defender in, disguises his pass into Junior. And, Junior has a lot to do. He's coming off a really tight angle. And again, facing one of the best goalkeepers in the world, it's not an outstanding opportunity. It's a good chance, but it's not an outstanding opportunity. And he just manages to toe poke it through Courtois' legs. I think that second goal was huge. You have a 1-goal cushion and it's still very tight. The 2-goal cushion seemed to alleviate the pressure we were feeling at the time, and then we were able to get a third off the back of that. I think we really struggled to beat Chelsea under Antonio Conte, as most teams did then. I think they were one of the innovators of the Premier League, or he was one of the innovators of the Premier League, where he introduced this system with world-class players. And I think it was a tactical challenge for anyone who came up against them. They were very, very good defensively because they had the 5 defenders. And they were very, very good on transitions with the pace they had in the team. And they had a world-class player in Hazard who won a lot of games for them when things were tight. So I think the tactical challenge of this was a really good thing actually for me to learn from as a coach. I think I developed a lot from these battles, and obviously I look back fondly with this game. But there was a lot of games that we played against them that didn't go so well, and I think that's where you have to adapt and try and learn from the next one.